What's up guys, it's Paralyzer here, and today we're taking on a huge Grounded 2 video. We have 100 tips to help you inside of Grounded 2. Now these tips range from the most basic tip in the game to some of the most complicated features that a lot of people don't know about. I'm going to tell you every single one of them today. I can almost guarantee you will learn something from this video, and if there's any tips that aren't in here that you want to share, make sure you leave them in the comments below so everyone else can see them. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Tip number 1 is to learn to parry. Parrying is a fundamental mechanic inside of Grounded 2. It is the most important thing to learn. So it's all about learning the other creature's attack patterns and then knowing how to block the incoming attacks. Tip number 2, when fighting enemies, parry the physical attacks, but use the new dodge feature for things like acid or wind. Now, this includes fighting bombardiers or butterflies. If you want to dodge the specific attacks that are non-physical, that don't include contact between you and the creature, I highly recommend dodging as opposed to parrying, as it's a much better technique, especially if you dodge towards the enemy that you're fighting. This will get you closer to them so you can hit them again, but it also gives you a better chance of dodging the attack and not taking any damage. Tip number 3, some attacks can only be blocked with a shield. Now, in the first game, this included something like Bombardier Acid. That doesn't count in this game anymore. But if you're not using dodging, then some attacks like the Butterfly Wind, you can't parry. So you do actually need a shield if you want to block the attack. So that's why I highly recommend learning the dodging feature, because otherwise you're going to be needing to use a shield, which I'm not a huge fan of. Tip 4. Some attacks can't be blocked at all. This is the Mantis Jump, for example. When the Mantis jumps at you, you can't block it. You need to dodge these attacks. It's the only way for them not to hit you. Tip 5. You get grass seeds from grass flowers. In Grounded 1, you got it from grass seeds on the ground, but in this game, you have to chop down grass with the little seeds on the top, and this will actually give you the grass seed item. Tip 6, you get berry chunks in the bottom right of the map down here. You can also find them on the picnic table, so check either of these two areas and grab a bunch of berry chunks if that's what you need to upgrade your Omni tool. Tip 7, if you're going for lingonberries to get your Omni tool upgraded to tier 2, come to the far northwest of the map inside of the Pine Hill. This is where you'll find a bunch of lingonberries in this hedge area over here. Tip number 8, make sure you analyze every single item. Analyzing items not only unlocks recipes, it also levels up your brain power to unlock even more recipes, and it gives you free raw science, which allows you to unlock things inside of the science shop. So make sure you're analyzing every item you find. Tip 9. If you want some cheap crude rope, you're sick of spending 3 plant fiber per piece, make sure you craft it in the spinning wheel. This does take a lot longer, but it is a 1-to-1 conversion, so 1 piece of plant fiber gives you 1 crude rope. Tip 10. Use the jerky racks for berry leather. Now, putting berry chunks onto a jerky rack will convert 1 chunk into 1 leather, whereas if you manually craft it, it is 3 chunks for 1 leather. So make sure you're doing this, as it is much cheaper. Tip 11. Bandages cancel when you get hit. In the first Grounded, as soon as you use the bandage, you would continue to heal until the effect ran out. In this game, however, if you get hit, the effect will automatically cancel, so you need to make sure that you don't get hit after applying a bandage, or it'll be a complete waste. Tip 12. Press N on keyboard to hot deposit items in your inventory into nearby chests. You will need to go into your custom settings and change your controller binds if you want to use this feature, but it allows you to deposit everything into chests that you have already in the chest, so you don't need to manually go into every chest and hot deposit items. Tip 13, you can fast harvest with the Omni tool. This is done by holding down the harvest key, then releasing it as soon as your tool hits the thing you're harvesting, and holding down again until it hits again. This will harvest stuff much faster than if you were just holding the entire time. Tip 14, for the baby snails, make sure you do a charged club attack with a roach club or pinch whacker, as this will stun them on the charge attack, allowing you to kill them before they can go inside of their shell at all. Tip 15, do not wear trinkets if you're trying to farm mutations. This is because a trinket that does damage to an enemy, like the Stabby Stinger or the Boiling Blister, if it kills the enemy, it will not count to unlocking the mutation for you. You need to be killing the enemy with the damage from the weapon specifically. This also counts for armor effects and for weapon effects like poison and venom. Tip 16. All smoothies will heal the same amount upon use. The only thing that changes is the amount of chunky versus regular. So all of the regular smoothies heal the exact same amount of health. All of the chunky smoothies heal the exact same amount of health as well. The only one that will heal more is Hedgelord, as it gives you a regen effect. Tip 17. Hedgelord now gives trickle regen, and it doesn't get removed when you get hit. Hedgelord is a smoothie that stops you from getting thirsty in the first grounded. However, in this grounded, it actually makes it so that you get trickle regen effect, which is the same thing bandages give you. However, this regen does not get removed if you get hit, so it will continue to go. Unfortunately, these smoothies are pretty expensive though, as they cost aphid honeydew. Tip number 18. Sleeping in a simple bed gives you buffs, so you should try and upgrade to it as soon as you can, as it gives you cozy hunger and thirst, meaning the next day your hunger and thirst will drain much slower. Tip 19. If you want to farm raw science, never complete the mixer, as you get science for every successful base raid that you do. Once you get late into the game, if you haven't beaten the mixer, every base raid gives you 350 raw science, and you can use this to farm as much raw science as you like. Tip 20. If you do beat the final boss, but you don't talk to Burgle afterwards, the creatures will continue to spawn in the statue area, meaning you can still continue to kill them for the gold cards that are up there, like the Orc Mosquito and the Orc Bee. Tip 21. The crow is the final harmless creature. If you want to peep it, you're going to have to go to certain locations, like the top of the ice cream cart, the top of the ceremony pillar, or the far north pillar as well outside of the map. Those are the main ones that I would check, and it'll give you the best chance of getting this creature card, but it's probably the hardest to get in the game. Tip 22. Your buggy can carry 13 planks or stems at a time. This is 12 on the actual buggy itself, and then 1 in its mouth by pressing F to pick one up. Tip 23. You can get off your buggy, and this will allow you to carry more planks and stems. The buggy can carry 13, but if you hop off and pick more up, you can carry another 5 or 10 or whatever your carry capacity is, and the buggy will follow you and bring more with it. Tip 24. You can relocate a pallet with planks or stems on to move even more. That's right, if you're carrying planks and you have a buggy following you, you can still relocate a full pallet of planks or weed stems, and this will mean you can move even more things all at once. Tip 25. The Orb Weaver buggy can shoot webs, and you can use this to knock down the berries from the hedge area, allowing you to farm them much easier. Tip 26. Flash Furters are really strong on the orc creatures. These are a special type of new bomb that you can get, and if you use one of these, it will stun all of the orc creatures in the radius, allowing you to do huge damage to them while they're all stunned, and making it a really powerful item. Tip 27. If you want to beat the mixer, make sure you build defenses around it. This will help you massively and distract the creatures, stopping them from hitting the mixer. Tip 28. Make sure you peep every single creature. This is going to get you every single creature card, and it makes it much easier to get gold cards as you need to have them peeped first. Tip 29. You can dash with your daggers if you want to move faster. You do this by doing a charged attack and then cancelling it right after you get the momentum boost from releasing the charge attack, allowing you to bounce around if you're really good at it. Tip 30. You can check an armor set bonus before you craft it by going into the crafting table, clicking on the armor and clicking explore. It will tell you the set bonus, which is really useful. Tip 31. You can use the spicy staff or any other spicy weapon to cook creatures when you kill them, and this is really easy food as you can just walk around and get cooked meat whenever you need it. Tip 32. You can walk on web bridges by walking along the edge. This is technically a bug and there's a chance it gets fixed in the future, but if you go right to the edge of a web bridge, you will be able to walk along it as if it was just a normal surface. Tip 33. You can charge attack daggers to get across web bridges. Again, another bug, but if you do a charge attack with your daggers, it will propel you forward while on a web bridge, allowing you to get across much easier. Tip 34. If you have a full set of Orb Weaver armor, you can walk across web bridges much easily, as this is the set bonus of the armor. Tip 35. Getting an Orb Weaver buggy will allow you to get across the web bridges at full normal speed. Tip 36. you can use your buggy as a distraction when you're fighting bugs. You can get off your buggy and get the creature you're fighting to attack the buggy, and then just go up behind the creature and attack it. This is really good, especially for bombardiers, as their weak point is behind them, so having your buggy distract them means you can go behind them and deal massive damage. Tip 37. Reliable Friend allows you to revive your buggy much faster. Now, this is a mutation in the first grounded that revived players much faster, but it now also works on your buggies too, so definitely have it equipped if you're reviving your buggy a lot. Tip 38. Build quarter pine walls. This is because a regular pine wall requires 1 weed stem and 4 pine needles, but a quarter pine wall just requires a pine needle. So building 4 of them costs 4 pine needles and means you don't need any weed stems to build your walls. Tip 39. Carry 3 eggs at once using the red soldier buggy. If you bring the red soldier buggy with you, it can carry 1 egg normally, and then it can also pick one up with its mouth. Then, if you hop off the buggy, you can pick up an egg for yourself as well, meaning you can take 3 eggs home all at once. Tip 40. If your buggy gets knocked down, you have some time to revive them. If you don't revive them, however, on medium, they will go back to the nest and you'll have to wait for a cooldown to end before they can be called back out again. But if you're on low and you don't revive them in time, they will be gone forever, so be very careful. Tip 41. There is no friendly fire on mild or medium, but be careful on low as there is, so you can actually hit your teammates and also your buggies, and you don't want to do that. Tip 42. You can sort chests by holding Y. If it doesn't work, close the chest and reopen it and go back to the button and it'll allow you to sort the chest. Tip 43. You can use a buggy to chop down weeds and grass. This is because it breaks much faster using the buggy, as the buggy deals more damage to the weed stems and the grass. However, this won't work with the tier 2 weed stems as the buggies aren't strong enough. Tip 44. Make a base near a ranger outpost. This is because this place has all the resources you will need. It has the scanner, it has the ranger station that you can use for upgrades in the science shop, and it also has an infinite water source in almost all of them on the map. So I highly recommend setting up near one of these. Tip 45. Use trail markers to mark your base. This is just so you know where your base is. Makes it much easier to get home whenever you're in a pickle, and it's just a good idea. Tip 46. Use trail markers to mark things you find interesting. Maybe your scanner pings some science and you can't find it, or you don't have time to find it. Or you find a cracked rock but you don't have bombs. Go ahead, chuck a trail marker down and come back to it later. Tip 47. Your buggy has an inventory and it can hold things for you, so make sure you use it. Open your buggy's inventory and give him items so that you can free up some inventory space for yourself. Tip 48. Give your buggy your freezing and sizzling armor along with your gas mask. That way, if you ever need those items and want to go into those biomes, you don't have to travel home. You can just call your buggy and take the armor off of them and switch it with whichever set you're wearing at the time. Tip 49. The Scorpion Bed gives cozy defense and energy, so get it as soon as you can, because this is going to mean after you've slept, the next day you will have better stamina recovery and you'll have increased defense, making taking on any enemy much easier. Tip 50. Have 2 buggies of each type. That way, if you're unable to revive one and they bleed out and you're in medium or mild, while the countdown is going, you can just call the other buggy and use them temporarily until the first one has recovered. Tip 51. Eating a meal from the cookery will give you a buff, which will stop you from losing hunger for about 12 minutes. This no longer works with cooked meat like it did in the first grounded, meaning meals are now the best source of food for keeping you well fed for a long amount of time. Tip 52. Go through the northern anthill entrance when you're looking for your first red soldier egg. Don't go through the southern one that the game points you to, because if you go through the northern entrance, you just have to follow the path that I take here, taking a right, another right, a left, and then a right, and you'll get to the end of the anthill very quickly and easily be able to get your first egg. Tip 53. If you use photo mode and then change the time of day, you can actually see at nighttime. So if you change it to daytime while you're in photo mode, you'll be able to see everything around you so you know where you're going if you're doing this in the middle of the night. Tip 54. If you use photo mode on multiplayer, this will actually pause the game even in multiplayer, so if your friend goes away and you don't want them to die, you can just use photo mode to pause the game. Tip 55. You can use the resource analyzer by opening up the map and hitting S after beating the first base raid from the main quest. This will allow you to scan for resources that are all over the map, up to 4 resources at a time. You have to have discovered the resource to be able to scan for it though. Tip 56. If you press T, you can call your buggy at any time, wherever you are on the map, and they will come right to you. Tip 57. Almost anything in the game can be parkoured up to without building. So if you're struggling, keep looking and you might find a way that you couldn't see before. Tip 58. If you do build up, build with clay quarter foundations, as this is the cheapest way to build up to a high area. Tip 59. If you want to build with grass or weed stems, move a pallet nearby, and it'll use the grass or the weed stems off of the pallet so you don't have to carry them backwards and forwards to build walls. Tip 60. If you have chests near a crafting bench, it'll use the items that are in the chest when you're using the crafting bench to craft things. Tip 61. You can put plant fiber on jerky racks, which will allow you to make dry grass if you're in desperate need. Tip 62. If you hold interact on armor stands or weapon displays, it will swap your currently equipped armor or weapon with the one that is on the stand or display. Tip 63. You can put mushrooms in garden patches, and this will actually attract weevils towards the garden patch that you can then kill for food. Tip 64. Weevils will also naturally spawn around the big mushrooms around the yard as they're trying to go towards them to sniff them. Tip 65. Grubs and larvae make different sounds when they're underground. The grub has a much softer burrowing sound, whereas the larvae sound is much more rough. So if you're trying to distinguish which is which, then you got to learn these sounds so you know what you're digging up. Tip 66. Use the peeper to check enemies' weaknesses, so that you can use weapons that they're weak to. If you pull out your peeper, you'll be able to look at an enemy and it'll tell you what they're weak to before you go into battle with them, so you can make sure to use the right weapons. Tip 67. Always carry a stack of bombs with you. Just in case you find a cracked rock while you're exploring, you always want to be able to break these open and find what's behind them, so always carry a stack of bombs. Tip 68. If you rub stuffed bugs, not only will it increase your drops, but it also increases your chance for getting trinkets. Sadly, this doesn't work for golds, but if you're trying to farm the mantis trinket, for example, make sure you rub a stuffed mantis before you head out on your spree. Tip 69. Shiny spots on the ground indicate buried treasure that you can dig up with a tier 2 shovel. This can range from anything from a treasure chest to just a piece of candy. Tip 70. Make sure you turn on wide interaction, as this will allow you to pick up items from the ground much easier. As you can see here, it's much more difficult to pick stuff up if you don't have this turned on. Tip 71. If you're sizzling a lot in the fire pit area, eat some mint shards, as this will reduce your sizzle meter. Tip 72. If you're freezing in the ice cream biome, eat some spicy candy, and this will reduce your freeze meter. Tip 73. If you hold a torch, it will reduce your freezing buildup in the ice cream car area. Tip 74. You don't take fall damage if you jump on the picnic table blanket, because it's a very soft material, so make sure if you're jumping off the picnic table that you land on the blanket. Tip 75. Jumping off your buggy can sometimes work to avoid fall damage before you hit the ground. This can be a bit inconsistent though. Tip 76. Make sure you scan for fresh apple bits if you're looking for the cockroach queens to have respawned. This is because the cockroach queen can drop fresh apple bits, and there are 2 specific locations that will show up right here that will indicate that the cockroach queen has respawned, as she only has 2 spawn points. Tip 77. Scanning for mite fuzz, mite fangs, gnat fuzz, ladybug parts, and bombardier parts will all show web sacks on the map, as well as the locations of the actual creatures that have these parts. Tip 78. You can use web sacks to farm mutations. Basically, just break open the web sack and use your weapon of choice to kill all of the spiderlings that are inside, and this will progress your mutations really quickly. Tip 79. If you scan scorpion chunks, it'll show all the variations of scorpion. If you scan venom, it will only show the juniors and the regular northern scorpions, and if you scan pincers and stingers, it only shows the full-size northern scorpions. Tip 80. If you scan for snail eye stalks, it only shows adult snails and it doesn't show the baby snails. Tip 81. Don't leave drops on the ground if you're scanning for them, as they'll still show on the scanner. So if you're running around scanning for raw weevil meat, for example, and then you're looting the weevils after you kill them and leaving the meat on the ground, they will still appear on the scanner. You either need to trash the meat or carry it. Tip 82. Upgrade rocks respawn. Remember where they are and keep collecting them. Some of the best areas you can find these are the spider cave, the infected anthill, and the fire pit in the far north. Tip 83. This is how you do the anti-gravity buggy glitch. Go ahead and build a wall and then a floor and place your buggy on top. Then get an enemy to attack you, and when the buggy jumps down with this jumping animation, this will do the anti-grav buggy glitch, allowing you to jump around really high with your buggy. Tip 84. Name your buggies using the nests. If you put your buggy inside of an ant nest or an orb weaver nest, this will allow you to change their name to whatever you like. Tip 85. Heal basses actually heal both you and your buggy. So if you're reviving your buggy and finding they die very quickly, carry a stack of heal basses to heal them up instantly. Tip 86. Make sure you loot the bugs if you're going for gold cards. If you don't loot a body, you cannot get the gold card. Tip 87. If you cook raw meat, it'll reset the decay bar. So if the meat is raw and about to expire and turn into spoiled meat, then cooking it will fully reset the bar so it is completely healthy once again. Tip 88. If you leave food in the cookery, it actually doesn't spoil. So make sure if you're cooking some meals and you don't have room in the fridge, you just leave them in the cookery for now and they won't spoil. Tip 89. If you interact with bug trophies, this will allow you to deal more damage to the bug that you interact with the trophy of. Tip 90. If you rub a stuffed bug, looting a bug of that type will give you more loot. Tip 91. If you rub a stuffed passive creature, like an aphid, this will give you more loot from all passive creatures. For example, aphids, weevils, gnats, all of them will give more loot. Tip 92. You can unlock recipes to craft upgrade rocks later into the game if you need more and you don't want to go around the yard and collect them all. Tip 93. Putting red ant eggs into a fridge actually stops them from hatching. So if you don't have the materials to make bombs just yet, go ahead and throw the eggs into a fridge and then they won't decay over time. Tip 94. Choosing different characters changes the look of your hood. So if you prefer different styles to your hood, then go ahead and change your character, unlike in the first game we had to change your scabby scheme. Tip 95. The mantis's ground slam attack can actually be jumped over if you want to avoid taking damage from it. Tip 96. Orc weevils can be used to break snail shells. They actually count as a tier 3 explosive, so they can blow up snail shells, allowing you to collect the snail shell parts. Tip 97. You can pick up a bomb before it explodes. If you throw it or you accidentally drop it on the ground, just run over to it and press the pick up button and it will pick it up without it detonating. Tip 98. You can fast travel between the trash bags and the ceremony ranger outposts. By unlocking these fast travel stations in both of them, you can fast travel between them. Tip 99. You only take gas damage in the toxic anthill if you step in the blue water. So long as you don't touch that blue water, you aren't going to take gas damage. Tip 100. Killing cockroaches and cockroach queens counts as 2 kills towards your mutations. Only if they revive themselves once they first die. This will actually count as 2 kills to progress your mutations. That is all 100 tips in Grounded 2. Let me know how many new things you learned and leave any additional tips you have for other players in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and I'll see you in the next Grounded video. Have a great rest of your day.